Hey, and welcome to 20 Minutes Self Development with me, your host, Tam Dillon. This podcast is all about focused, effective self development, specifically for healing practitioners, space holders, and intuitives who want to do the work behind the work. In each episode, I'll introduce you to a key concept, reflection, or tool that's designed to strengthen your inner capacity and support the integrity of your practice. In just 20 minutes, we'll go beyond surface level growth and into the real work that makes you a stronger, steadier, and more embodied practitioner. Let's get into today's episode. Your host, Tam Dillon. So this week we're chatting about something that I've experienced. Gosh, I can't actually tell you how many times I've had this experience. More so in the earlier years, and I'm probably into like the mid years of being someone who's naturally gifted and done the work that I do. And that's when your gifts feel like a burden. I would say for the 25 years that I've been actively doing this work, probably close to a good 20 of those years, my gifts felt like a burden. Like that stuff's heavy to carry. Being gifted it's not glamorous. Okay? Like there's very little about having natural gifts like this that is glamorous. And it's an unfortunate thing that a lot of people do glamorize being gifted. And I'm here to tell you that that's complete and utter hogwash. Okay, like there's nothing glamorous about us. You probably hear me say this in a couple of my podcast episodes. You probably heard me say that in a couple of the videos that I do. And there's not a whole lot about being gifted that is actually glamorous. And the gifts feel heavy for a good majority of us. Those gifts feel very heavy. It's like a burden that we carry around with us. And it took me many years to find a sense of balance and some kind of peace with the gifts that I have and the work that I do and the calling that I have, to where it feels more like I don't want to say a blessing. I'm going to be real with you, but it doesn't feel as heavy as it does. I mean, being gifted comes with things like shaman sickness, unexplained illnesses. One day you're all energized and feeling fabulous, and you're lining all the clients up, and the next you're just like fatigued, like you can't get yourself out of bed because there just is no capacity, and you're like, well, what is this? And the ancestors are like, well, it's training time, so we need you to be quiet. So there's a lot of confusion that comes with these gifts. And because we live in a day and age where we don't have elders or predecessors to essentially hold our hand through the process of coming into our gifts and developing our gifts and understanding our gifts and what the heck do we do with our gifts, that creates quite a bit of a disconnect for a lot of us. We'll feel weighed down. We take on too many other people's energies and emotions because we don't know how not to, because that's it's what we're tuned for, and we're like, how do we turn it off? I mean, for many years I was like, how do I switch this off? I've had people that came to see me. I've had multiple gifted people come and see me over the years that have been called to the path, from numerous different cultural backgrounds. And no matter the culture, no matter the background that they come from, there was that consistency for a lot of them where they were like, I don't want it. How do I turn it off? How do I make it stop? This is scary. This is frightening. This is heavy. It's burdensome. So that's when people try and glamorize the work. I'm like, no, go sit in the corner and be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about. Go away. You're making the problem worse. Because there's a feeling of huge responsibility that sits on your shoulders, and rightly so. Having these types of gifts does come with an immense amount of responsibility. You've got to that you've got to be discerning, you've got to learn ethics, you've got to learn how to channel that gift, you've got to learn who to work with, who not to work with, how to manage your energy capacity. You've got to learn how to manage your gifts, when to turn them on, when to turn them off. When you're first coming into these gifts and you're having strange visions and dreams, and you're hearing people talking to you and they aren't there, you're getting messages from the other side, you're seeing people that aren't there. It's frightening. It's incredibly frightening. A lot of people think, oh, but that would be so cool, to see people that have passed, or connect with the spirits and the ancestors. But for the most part, especially when you're first coming into these gifts, it's disorientating. It's terrifying. I've had moms bring their young children to me who, like, their gifts are just starting to switch on. And they're like, I don't know what to do for my child. They keep seeing people in the house and it's frightening them. They keep having these night terrors and I don't know what to do with them. So there's more in the gifts that is heavy than light. in all honesty, there really is. That confusion of, what the heck do we do with this? Do I have to be called? I've got the calling. Do I have to answer the calling? Do I have to walk the path? How do I walk the path? Do I have to make this my day-to-day job? Do I have to become a healing practitioner? Must I go and do a Reiki course? Do I have to go and train with a Sangoma in South Africa? Do I need to go train with the shamans in Peru? Like, what the heck am I supposed to be doing here? Do you have to use your gifts for others? Or can it just simply be a part of who you are? How do we integrate these gifts into our daily lives? And that way can really leave you questioning yourself, absolutely doubting your sanity. And for a lot of us, wishing your gifts away. I don't want this. I don't want the responsibility. I don't want the burden. It really is. It's across cultures. I've had people come to me from different African traditions. I've had people from different Asian countries. Here in the US, I have multiple different cultures. So I've worked with people across different cultures, and there's consistency here where the gifts are heavy. The gifts are very heavy. So how the heck do we navigate these questions, and what do we do when our gifts do feel like a burden? So first things first, your gift is going to feel heavy because it's supposed to, because there is an immense amount of responsibility that does come with the gift that you've been given. But also understand that you are never given anything that you can't handle or can't carry. Universe, you didn't arrive on your birthday and universe is like, okay, cool, let's, stick that oak with these gifts and let's see how they do. You're born into your gifts for a reason, because you have the capacity to manage those gifts, despite the heaviness that comes with it. In shamanic realms, we have something called shaman sickness. And this is something I've actually seen quite consistently across the different cultures that I've worked with over the years, is some kind of sickness or dis-ease, upheaval, huge upheavals in their life. And we've got to understand that these things, severe as they are, they're not a punishment. They're not there to punish us. They're initiations. And initiations into the gifts that we have are not supposed to be easy, because if they were easy, everyone would be doing us. Everybody would be like, oh, let's develop my gifts, and let's become shamans, and let's become medicine people. And the people that do just willy-nilly go about becoming shamans and medicine people, please stop. You are just being incredibly disrespectful to those of us who are going through hell and back with our gifts, and that are actually called to this work. But these burdens and challenges and huge immense responsibilities, they're there because you're being asked to grow. into the version of you that's needed for the work that you're going to be doing. Initiations are, they're never gentle. I don't think I've ever had an initiation that I've gone through, and I've gone through multiple initiation stages, and I can't think of any one of them that were easy. None, zero. They were all challenging in some regard, whether it was intense physical illness, sitting at death's doorstep where it's like, if I don't, get myself out of this bed and get myself the things I need, I'm probably going to die here, to unexplainable interactions with the spirit realm. It's, these things, they're not gentle. They're not light and fluffy. The ancestors don't arrive at your door with a gift basket and an instruction manual on how to do this stuff. But they are incredibly transformative. These initiations will grow you if you let them grow you. And it's all about how you move through the initiation stages. And I tell you what, it's taken me many years to figure that one out. And it's not to say that your initiations will become less severe or easier, but they will become quicker to recognize them when they're there. And navigating your way through them becomes simpler in a certain respect. Easier, no. If anything, the more you know, the harder it is. The more challenges you get, the harder the initiations become, because it's like, well, you know more, so let's, train you on more, let's test you on more, and when we feel like gifts are too much, it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person for, you've been given these God-given gifts and you're like, oh my God, I wish they would go away. I don't want these. Like, it doesn't make you a bad person to have that way of thinking. I think that that's incredibly normal, and I think that it's very valid to think that way. It means when we're going through these initiations and when we're coming into our gifts, we're being stretched into what it is that we're going to become. We're being stretched and molded into the medicine person that we're meant to be. And the medicine person that we're meant to be is going to look different for each one of us. We don't all have the exact same gifts. I've got mediumship, there's clairvoyance, there's clairaudience, clairsentience, there's healing. I've got I can step onto people's timelines. I can look up and down people's timelines. I can do future predictions. Not every medicine person can do that. Not every medicine person has the exact same gift. Some of their gifts are the same, but some are more potent than other gifts that they've got. So there's no one size fits all manual to developing and coming into your gifts. Sorry, everyone. Like, I've got to be real and honest with you here. I can't sugarcoat. It would be nice if there was a one-step manual where it's like, okay, cool, this is what you need to do. It's how you navigate your path. But know that when your gifts are developing and starting to open up and become more prevalent, and you are going through these initiations, you are experiencing things like shaman sickness and huge upheavals because the ancestors are like, okay, cool, you need to come and walk your path, and you're not, so we're going to push you so that you do. Know that those things are normal. Those things are normal for us. That is our normal. And it's because you are being stretched into who it is that you need to become. So what are some practices we can do? We since we don't have a manual, we don't have a 2-step guide that's going to tell us how to do this, because we're all different. So what can we do? What can Tam do today to help you with this, other than sit here and tell you, well, sorry, honey, it sucks. Okay, your gifts are hard. So something that works quite nicely is looking at your gift as a guest in your home. So take some time out and give yourself time to work with your gifts and explore your gifts and understand your gifts and how your gifts work, how they switch on, how they switch off, and these are the only things that will come through practice and through getting used to them and getting acquainted with them. You can only push them away and shun them for so long, and then the universe and the ancestors are just gonna, kick your butt and be like, well, sorry, you can't avoid your path. So look at your gift as a guest. Okay. Imagine your gift, whether it be connecting to the other side, seeing spirits and guides here in the 3D world, hearing things that aren't there, the ability to put your hands on anyone and heal them. Like, no matter what your gift is, see it as a guest. Like sit down and have a visual exercise where you see your gift come and knock on your front door and be like, hi, can I come and stay for a bit? And you're like, okay, cool, Kif, come on in, come on inside. You open the door, you invite your gift in, and you're not inviting your gift in as an intruder, but as a visitor, as a guest in your space, within you, okay, because you are your home. And ask your gift, what are you here for? What is your purpose? What are you here to teach me? What are you here to refine in me? How do you want to stretch me? And listen, like take some time with this exercise. And I highly recommend doing this exercise more than once. Like, do this exercise as many times as you need to along your path, whether it be 100 times in 1 year or 100 times throughout your lifetime. Like, repeat this exercise as you need to. But ask your gift those questions and give it time and listen to what the response is. Listen to your guides, your ancestors, the universe. Listen to your gift and see what it says, without the pressure of like, oh, okay, well, I've got to act on it now. Okay, my gift says it's for this, so I've got to do something with it now. Sometimes you need to just sit with it, maybe journal about it for a couple of days, but invite your gift in as a guest. Okay, don't invite it in as an intruder. Well, I don't think we would ever invite an intruder in. Don't open the door and be like, oh my god, my gift is here and it's coming to intrude my house. Be like, yeah, my gift is here and it's coming to visit me. Because what this does is it does create a little bit more separation between you and your gifts. And yes, your gifts are an innate part of who you are, but they're not the sum total of who you are. They don't make up every part of who you are. And sometimes over-identifying with our gifts and becoming the whole of our gifts can cause other problems down the line as well. So it does create a little bit of separation. And when you're done having the conversation with your gift, let it take up a spot in your house. It doesn't have to run the house. It's not supposed to run the house. You run the house. You run your home. And you are your home. And here I'm not talking about like the physical house that you live in. I'm talking about like you within yourself. So your gift isn't here to run you or rule you. You're in charge. You're absolutely in charge. And you can allocate as much space as needed to your gift. And you can be like, okay, cool. Well, here's the guest bedroom for you. You're all nice and set up. If you want anything, you know where I am. And it allows you to acknowledge your gift without being consumed by it. And here we move from gifts being a burden to rather having space to cultivate a relationship with your gift. It's far easier to sit at the proverbial dining room table or in your proverbial lounge with your gift and, have a cup of coffee and chat to your gift and be like, cool, what are you here for? And what do I need to know about you? And what can I learn from you? And how are you going to stretch me? So you're moving out of that space of, oh my God, this is heavy and this sucks, to, hey, let's build a relationship here. And having a relationship with your gifts is going to help it feel like far less of a burden. So perception really does, perception is everything in this regard. So know that your gifts are, well, yeah, they're going to break you. I was going to say your gifts are not here to break you, but yeah, your gifts will break you. But that's because they will break you to rebuild you in the way that you're meant to be built so that you become stronger, to hold the gifts better, to become stronger in the way that you do hold and carry your gifts. Your gifts are here to shape you. And while they can be heavy and confusing and gosh, destabilizing, know that you don't have to try and figure everything out right now. You don't have to figure your whole gift out now. It's not something you're going to figure out overnight. It took me many years to really get a full handle on some of my gifts. Some of them only came into being an existence and years into me being a professional tarot reader and a healer. I didn't know that I had the gift of being a medium until I'd been reading professionally for, I think, close to 10 years. I was like, oh, I can connect to the other side. Okay, cool. Let's develop that some more. And then the first time that I heard the ancestors, I wasn't 5 years old and all of a sudden these gifts were open. They opened up slowly and progressively. For some of us, it'll be different. Some people, their gifts all open up in one shot. But know that you don't have to figure it out all of it overnight. You don't have to refine your gifts overnight. But work on building that relationship with your gifts. Invite it in as a guest in your home. Let it take up a space within you. Let it become part of you. The path of being a gifted medicine person isn't about rushing into becoming a professional practitioner or, a professional healer and building a brand and having a business. It's about learning learning how to live with your gifts in a way that feels authentic and sustainable for you. So take some time, develop the practice of inviting your gifts in as guests, give them guest rooms to live in, give them spaces to live in, and spend time with them, question them, get to know them, let them get to know you, build that relationship, and you'll find over time what felt like a burden really begins to feel far more like a teacher, and more like a companion, something that you can tap into when you need to, something you can utilize when you need to. I do hope that this helps to ease the burden of the gifts. I do understand the burden, and I do understand that it takes time to shift from that heavy weighted feeling of gifts to having a more of a cohesive and synergistic relationship with them.
Thanks for joining me for this week's episode of 20 Minutes Self-Development. If today's reflections were helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where we'll explore another tool or principle to support you in doing your own work as a healing practitioner. If you're looking for deeper support, my practitioner mentoring sessions are designed to help you refine your presence, integrate your self-work, and build a practice that's both ethical and sustainable. You can also visit the Tam Dillon Academy to explore all current programs and resources built specifically for space holders like you. Until next time, keep showing up for your own work, and remember, real growth is built on consistency, integrity, and self-responsibility.